and we'd wear the flak from the media in the initial rather than putting the pressure on her at that stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory anthem of Australia.
The Australian media clutched her to their bosom, or at least clutched her 5 gold medals. And suddenly, a shy 14-year-old kid, born in Japan, living in Los Angeles, was ours to own and exhibit.
Every Oscar night, the Academy tries to outdo itself with a live musical routine. And this year, taking centre stage, will be 14-year-old Australian gymnast Kasumi Takahashi.
I am awed by her ability. She's so beautiful.
Kasumi is performing a solo hoop routine to the music from The Lion King. It was the same kind of grace and precision that won her 5 gold and 1 silver medal at the last Commonwealth Games.
There were no gold medals to be won at the Oscars, so we left her alone again, until it was time to come home to compete in selection trials for next month's World Championships. How do you cope with the limelight? Do you like it, or to come back to Australia, are you a little stunned by how people are reacting to it?
I definitely did not realize that it was such a, it was such an important thing that I did.
If it was overwhelming in Canada, it was downright daunting in Melbourne.
Have much time for a personal life, boyfriends and discos and usual sort of thing that 15-year-old does. Oh yeah. Your mum was Australian, right? She grew up in Melbourne, and she met your dad in Japan.
In Sydney.
In Sydney.
I just came here to do the trials and do my best and train, and that's not an important part, the cameras and the media and all that.
How's that level? Level okay?
Yeah, your first question is why are you back in Australia? That's what he's
By midweek, it seemed the novelty of having camera crews rolling on her hip rotation was beginning to wear off. Inside the gym, at its warmest, it was about 2 degrees. Warming up, working out, was not easy in front of so many staring lenses.
I feel that sometimes a lot is expected out of me.
Kasumi, you must travel on that one, all right? You just took 1 step, jump, jump, jump. You must travel. That's better.
Not surprisingly, Peggy Brown from the Australian Gymnastics Federation was always close by, trying to take the pressure off. How do you think she deals with being an Australian sporting novelty, which she is to a certain extent?
I think there's no finite answer to that. I think it's a process we're going through, and each stage is really an education in that stepping stone of how to deal with that process. She's, I think it's probably a two-way street. You like the attention. I don't think anyone who's a high achiever doesn't like the attention, but they also like it to be in balance with what they have to do so they can continue to achieve.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the judges who will be judging today's trial. Kasumi Takahashi, Victoria.
We are young and free, we golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is birthright free.
For those of you wondering, no, her lips didn't move during the national anthem, but then neither did anyone's. Did you get a bit tired of us asking you questions about being an Australian?
Yeah.
Having to prove yourself you're an Australian?
Yeah, because, I have nothing to prove because, I am Australian. I was born with an Australian passport and everything, so there's nothing else I can say.
I'd say, although Kasumi doesn't speak of it, I would say, yes, it's very hurtful. If indeed you are either a naturalised Australian, or if you're indeed like she is, born with Australian citizenship because of your parentage, well, it is hurtful when people challenge you.
If Kasumi Takahashi is to achieve greatness in this sport, it will take more than graceful moves. How about a quantum leap? It was one thing to beat the Queen's subjects, but competing against the brilliant Eastern Europeans in Paris earlier this year, Kasumi finished 46th out of 104 competitors. At the World Championships, she'll need a top 40 finish to qualify for Atlanta, and at the Olympics, there is only one gold medal on offer.
I mean, Commonwealth Games is very big also, but in my sport, the Europeans are very good and they weren't attending that. So when I go to Olympics, if I do, it'll be very difficult to get past the Europeans. So that'll be my next goal.
The stands were packed last Sunday, an obvious indication of just how quickly Kasumi Takahashi has caught our imagination with those pretty ribbons, skipping ropes and brightly coloured plastic balls. But I hope we can keep in perspective that which she has achieved and that which she one day might. For all the media's probing on this trip revealed one thing above all else. Kasumi is still just a girl.
I started doing artistic gymnastics, which involves the bars and the beam and the vault. But I changed to rhythmic when I saw a girl using the ribbon, and I thought how beautiful it looked.
Are you really tough on yourself when you're not doing that well?
I just tell myself to just to start concentrating and keep trying harder, because you can't just give up in the middle. So just keep going.
Do you think we forget that you're 15 years of age?
Yeah, sometimes.
Jeff Hutchison introducing us to one of the most remote and exotic of Australian sporting champions, Kasumi Takahashi.